And there's articles, there's studies, there's a lot of discussion on the questions, why are our children so sick today?
Right.
We're supposed to have such a wonderful country, food, wealthy country, especially compared to other countries. Why are our kids so sick? Look at all the special ed classes. And if you talk to special ed teachers that have been around a long time, like try to find one that's about to retire, and say, is it any different from when you started? And they'll look at you like you came from Mars.
Right.
Say, oh my God, when I started, we had just a few. Now they're all over the place. You know, there are schools now that are totally devoted to special ed, not just classrooms. When I went to school, I remember there were 3 kids in the entire school, and when I was in elementary school in Brooklyn, 3 kids that had special needs, as they say.
Right.
Now, then classrooms are full of them, and it's destroying the budgets. Where did this come from? Why are our children so ill with chronic illness? We never had it before. And vaccinations, it didn't happen until we started vaccinating.
Now, one of the party line things that the medical profession says about vaccines is that, well, yeah, there is maybe a little bit of risk, but, you know, the risks outweigh the benefits, right. You know, or do they?
No, the benefits outweigh the risk. That's what they say.
So, is that really true? Do the benefits outweigh what they say is a small risk?
That gets to the heart of the matter, because people will do a procedure if they feel they'll benefit by it, and the chance of getting hurt are very small and minimal.
Right.
And years ago, people would say to their doctors, what's the chance of my child being paralyzed or injured from a shot? The doctor would say, it's 1 in a million. And yet, studies started coming out. It was 1 in 160 in one study of a child having nervous system damage.
Right.
Dr. Harris Coulter, the world-renowned medical historian, says that the odds of a child being seriously damaged from a shot are 1 in 5 or 6.
That's
and
incredible.
I think Coulter's work, this was from about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, is low. Right. Because how many kids have allergies today and asthma, and how many children have neurological problems? It's about 1 in 2. And they look at this and they say, oh, well, maybe it's the pollution. Right. But we find out, for example, a friend of mine practices part of the year in Cuba. He lives in England. He says in Cuba, you look up in Havana and the sky is clear. He says there's no gas, there's no cars, there's no smog, there's no pollution at all. And yet everyone's got inhalers, or a large proportion of the people have inhalers, or if they can't get them, they just suffer from asthma. He said, but they vaccinate. When the communist regime took over, they instituted mandatory vaccination of everybody. Now there's a horrible asthma epidemic in Cuba. However, if you go to some cities that are horribly polluted, like Mexico City or Jakarta, Indonesia, asthma is almost unknown because they do very little vaccination there.
Right.